Hello everyone. Before we get started, make sure to like and subscribe, and leave a comment saying where you're from and when you watched. That way, YouTube will continue to show you stories like this. Now, let's get started. I touched the old camera and immediately felt a cold electric current running down my spine. The light exploded around me, all the stalls, the shadows of people, the bells all disappeared in an instant. As if the night market that only opened at 1 AM was torn apart and swept away into the void. When I opened my eyes, I saw in front of me a small rustic wooden door, unlike any gate I had ever seen. No lanterns, no strange symbols, just a faint hand-carved line. The exit was only for those who truly wanted to leave. I had nothing left to lose. I gently pushed the door. It opened easily, and I stepped in. The other side was not my world, nor the market as before. The space was twisted and twisted like a distorted painting. The ground was cracked glass, reflecting chaotic and painful images. In the sky hung lanterns, but their light did not shine down, but up towards the pitch-black sky. Walked each step, made a cracking sound, like ice breaking under my feet. The image below. The glass does not reflect me, but different versions of me in strange states, some laughing madly, some sobbing, some completely empty. A voice rang out with an unknown source, as if coming from all directions. He had entered the level of erased memories, where things no one wanted to remember were hidden. I turned around. The door had disappeared, surrounded by darkness and distorted stalls about to collapse. Some stalls were just pieces of wood hanging in the air. Some stalls were built from dry human bones. A figure passed by. I could not hear footsteps. I could only see a long shadow, as if dragging my memories along. That person stopped in front of me, his face hidden behind a black cloth. But his eyes flashed coldly. He had chosen to continue, so he could not turn back. Asked if this was the way out. There is no escape, only changing roles, changing levels, changing identities. I do not understand and do not want to understand. I just want to leave this place to find my true self, find the light of life and reality. At the figure pointed to the distance, where there was a wooden bridge spanning the abyss below, which a river of blood flowed silently. The bridge had no railings, only rotten planks, and at the end was a single stall with lights on. I walked forward, each step trembling. The wind from the abyss blew up the stench, like a corpse soaked in water for a long time. I didn't dare look down, only keeping my eyes on the stall at the end of the bridge. Sitting inside was an old man with white hair and beard, but his eyes were still as sharp as steel. On the table was a pendulum clock that showed exactly 1 AM and never moved. He nodded as if he had been waiting for me for a long time, exchanging memories for reality, exchanging ego for truth. I asked what to do. Just remember what I had forgotten. I looked at the clock. My eyes blurred and buried memories gradually appeared. I saw myself at the age of 10, hugging my dying father after a traffic accident. I saw myself abandoning my best friend in the hospital because of a small conflict. I saw every moment that I tried to forget and cover up, except because it's too painful. Every memory that appears, I feel like my skin is being cut into layers, but I don't turn around. I want to remember, to find a way out when the last memory appears. The clock rings a bell, the air around me collapses, the booth disappears, the bridge falls into the abyss, and I am once again drawn into the void. Open my eyes to find myself in another booth. This time, I'm not standing behind the counter. There are no customers, just me and a large mirror placed in front of me. Look in and see another me, smiling gently for the first time since everything started. Behind me, there are familiar footsteps. The woman in red with a paper fan, she nods without saying anything and points behind where there is a small dirt path leading to a dimly lit place. This time, I decide to walk without anyone pushing me not to be drawn in anymore. I walk to find myself watch episode 5 to find out what awaits Alex after the journey through memories. And is the light at the end of the tunnel real, or just another illusion in a night market that only opens at 1 a.m? They did not say anything, just stopped in front of the stall and reached out to choose the items. One person chose an old notebook, another person chose a torn handkerchief, and the last person chose a broken nail. I felt dizzy every time I brought out an item. The image appeared in my head like a rewind of a movie of painful, desperate stories and even unwanted endings. Screamed in my head, this is not me, I am not the seller, I am Alex, I am the photographer, I do not belong here. The girl in red had disappeared, and instead, a large mirror was placed right in the middle of the stall. The mirror did not reflect me, but reflected the face of a child crying out for his mother, and behind it was a blazing fire. I stepped back, not daring to look anymore, but the mirror seemed to draw my eyes in. I saw other copies of myself in other stalls doing the same thing. They were all me, but no one really looked like me. Loud bell rang at 2 a.m. Everything around shook. The stalls began to fade, and the shadows of people also dissipated. I sat down on the ground. For the first time, I felt like I was melting, like I was no longer myself. But then a voice rang out. 2. Still have a chance. If you find the object that is attached to your real memories, you can escape. I looked around the stall. Everything was unfamiliar except for one object, my old camera, which was lying in the corner of the stall, covered in dust, but the lens was still intact. I quickly grabbed it, and at that moment, everything around exploded into millions of white light fragments that shot out like a silent explosion, and I found myself free falling into a completely new place. In front of me was another wooden door, smaller and older. And this time, there was no red lantern, just a hand-carved inscription. The exit only opened when you really wanted to leave. I gently pushed the door open. Watch episode 4 to find out what awaits Alex behind the mysterious door, and whether he really escaped the night market that only opens at 1 a.m. or just stepped into another scarier level. I stood up to call them back, but my throat couldn't make a sound. I realized I was standing behind the stall. I had become part of a night market that only opened at 1 a.m. Watch episode 3 to find out what happened to Alex and whether he could escape his new role in this mysterious market.